If you want to be a drag queen and your parents don't let you, you need new parents.
Lots of you will recognise this image, which was making the rounds on social media lately. It's a disco onesie modelled by an 8-year-old boy called Nemis, known to his fans by his drag name, Lactatia. Lactatia was first thrust into the public eye when she appeared on stage with Drag Race winner Bianca Del Rio.
You're fucking adorable, Lactatia! And is this your first time in drag?
Not really.
She recently also appeared in a video for Elle.com, joined by her mother and another drag star, Vivacious, who also appeared in RuPaul's Drag Race.
There you go. Diva in the making. I love it. It's because of people like you that I'm here. You are my replacement.
The controversy was largely down to the fact that most people feel uncomfortable seeing a child looking and behaving like an adult. But upon further inspection, it was soon discovered that the clothing line, the House of Man, owned by designer Brandon Hilton, also sells fetish clothing such as PVC underwear, body harnesses, and nipple tassels.
People just aren't accepting of it right now, but these kids know themselves, they're sure of themselves, they pick their outfits, they do their makeup, and I think it's beautiful that they're able to be themselves.
After 4chan users began sharing the image, it was swiftly picked up by members of the alternative media who criticised the mother and the designer for including a child model alongside erotic adult images. I come from a slightly different angle on this because I actually like drag. Drag has been a big part of my life now for a few years. Old drag was about mocking the taboo and about finding the beauty in the mediocre and the vulgar. It plays with femininity using morbid gallows humour. Drag combines dance, theatre, comedy and fashion. However, drag also plays with adult themes. It's lewd humour and a lot of innuendo. But it doesn't come from the same place for a child. A child just wants to dress up, go on TV, give interviews and meet their idols. Instant fame can bring with it many positives. However, time has proven that child stars are prey to God knows who in Hollywood.
I was surrounded by them when I was 14 years old. Surrounded. Literally. Didn't even know it. It wasn't until I was old enough to realize what they were and what they wanted and what they were about and the types of people that were surrounding me till I went, oh my God, they were everywhere like vultures.
It's for this reason that I actually quite like the hashtag Time's Up, because in my opinion, time should be up for that sort of stuff. And I love watching Hollywood burn. But moving on, let's look at some drag history. The 1990s documentary Paris is Burning tells the story of the ball culture in New York around the mid to late 80s. This film is an absolute must-watch to understand the history of the drag world, and it wasn't just about dresses and heels. Part of the culture was how well you could pass as a member of high society.
In a ballroom, you can be anything you want. You're not really an executive, but you're looking like an executive. And therefore, you're showing the straight world that I can be an executive. If I had the opportunity, I could be one.
And many of you will recognise these quotes that you can still hear drag queens saying today. They come from this film and from this time.
Shade is, I don't tell you you're ugly, but I don't have to tell you because you know you're ugly. And that's shade.
Many of the children, that is the younger drag queens, were rejected by their biological parents because of their sexuality. And in many cases, they were kicked out onto the streets where they turned to shoplifting and even sex work in order to survive. Eventually being adopted by a house and a mother who took them in and made them feel welcome. Underneath the glitz and the glamour, it is a world full of poverty, broken families, addiction, and even murder. Dorian Corey, the older drag queen who features heavily in the film, kept a mummified corpse in her apartment for an untold amount of years. Shot in the head, wrapped in fake leather and stuffed into a suitcase, and the body was only discovered after her death. Venus Extravaganza, who wanted to become a fully transgendered woman, was murdered before the film had finished production. On Christmas Day in 1988, Venus was found strangled under a bed in the Duchess Hotel in New York. I always found this scene uncomfortable as well, with these two young boys out on the streets.
How old are you?
Yeah, 13.
13 and you out here at 220?
Yeah,
where you live?
Me, I live in Harlem.
And why you down here? Where's your mother?
Hanging out. I don't have a mother.
Everybody has a mother or we wouldn't be here. Where's your mother?
She's gone.
This is why I'm so skeptical about introducing children into this world. It's a bit like vaping. We don't know whether it's good or bad yet. It's a bit of an experiment. And we might not see the results for decades, by which time it might be too late. Take Katya, for example. Katya is one of the most successful RuPaul's Drag Race contestants. She co-hosts her own show with Trixie Mattel, and in my opinion, is one of the funnier drag queens. But recently she released this statement. Hi, my name is not Katia. My name is Brian. I'm a recovering drug addict and a workaholic. I need to take some personal time for my mental health to heal and recover. I hope Brian sorts his head out and I wish him all the best in his recovery. But see, it's not all glitz and glamour, even at the top. Another famous drag queen star is Desmond is Amazing. Desmond first made the rounds online after videos of him twerking at a gay pride parade in Brooklyn went viral. At just 10, Desmond has been blessed by RuPaul, has given speeches at LGBTQ+ events, and has even won an award for his activism. Hundreds of thousands of people have voiced their opinion about Desmond. That's a lot to deal with for a 10-year-old. Some have compared him to John Bonet, the famous child pageant queen who was found strangled to death in her home. Which is interesting, child pageants have often been a topic of debate, whereas the drag queen kids are seemingly off limits. One of the main concerns is not necessarily the pageants themselves, but the people who might be watching them for the wrong reasons. Take, for example, Alaska Matthews. Alaska's mother was widely criticised after images of the child appeared on an inappropriate website.
This is beyond pageant. The fact is you allowed a post from a man saying he 2 freeze frames of my daughter.
From the TV show.
Period. You allowed
From the TV show.
Desmond has recently launched a drag club for kids called the House of Amazing, with the intention of allowing drag children to talk to each other and make friends online. He's also been photographed with and endorsed by Michael Alig and James St. James. Michael and James are known largely for the film Party Monster, which is based on the 1999 memoir Disco Bloodbath, a fabulous but true tale of murder in Clubland, written by James St. James. The film is based on a series of true events surrounding the club kids of the late 80s and the early 90s. We follow the tale of how Michael Alig became the king of the club kids through hosting controversial nights on the New York's queer scene. You can still find footage of a young Michael and even a young RuPaul on TV shows such as Geraldo and Joan Rivers. But the story takes a turn for the worst when Michael and his friend Robert Riggs murder an acquaintance of theirs over a dispute about drug money. They then stored the body in a bathtub in their apartment until it began to decompose, and Michael agreed to dismember it in exchange for 10 bags of heroin. Now Alig is out of prison after serving a 17-year sentence, and he seems to be trying to better himself and move on from his past. He's also a supporter of Desmond, calling him the world's youngest club kid. Desmond even appeared as a guest on Michael Alig's YouTube show over Christmas, again receiving a mixed reaction. While I'm sure the teams and the drag queens surrounding these photo shoots and these children are very protective and wouldn't want them to come into harm's way, the truth is that whether you like it or not, some people are going to be looking at them in a very different light. You cannot control your audience, and a lot of these monsters are hidden in plain sight. In the fashion world, it's also an open secret that if young models do certain things with certain people, they can get rewarded with high fashion campaigns. So while I understand that this may seem like a load of fuss about children playing dress up, I think it's also fair for the parents to be able to listen to the concerns that people are raising about their children. We're not all hateful bigots. Lots of us just care about the younger generation and know enough about psychology to be unsettled by this very new and very fast developing movement. It reminds me of the quote from Jurassic Park. You're so preoccupied about thinking whether or not you could that you didn't stop to think about whether or not you should. You only get one chance to raise your child right. Don't fuck it up.